Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for my advisor, Ma'am Indah Damayanti, and also Ma'am Zahrida. Also, thank you for my examiner, Ma'am May Hardia and Ma'am Kasmaini. Thank you for joining in my thesis examination. For today, I would like to present several things in my presentation. Actually, I focus on chapter 4 and also chapter 5, but I will explain briefly about my previous chapter. So we're going to the first chapter, that is chapter 1, that is introduction. Based on what I have this on my paper, that I have research question in this research. That the first one is what kind of figurative language expression found in the sonnet by John Milton, and the second question is what is the kind of figurative language most frequently found in the sonnets. So, as a brief information as well, that the limitation of this problem, I take the data and the sample by http://poetry.soc.com, and I already got the data. That is this 4 sonnet by John Milton. The first is How Soon Had Time. The second one is Mito Alsan I See My Late Espousing. And the third one is on the same, and the last is on his deceased wife. So, talking about the significance of this research, theoretically, people are going to know about the type of figurative language expression and how to understand the figurative language expression. So, if we relate it to the education, that it will make the learner have the strong literary skill, or it will train them in reading ability. So, the second is practically, this research gives the contribution feedback in understanding on how people can create a figurative language in sentence or type of literature. So we're going to the next chapter. I already explained and write in this research in several points, like type of poem, the definition of poem, and other and so on. But I will explain again about the type of figurative language I will discuss in this presentation, that I already take the theory from some experts such as Berman and Burto, Giro, MacArthur, Barnett, Linga, Sylvian, and Karaf. So I have 11 type of figurative language expression from that expert that I already explained the definition and the example each figurative language in this chapter. So the next point in this research is previous study. I take the 3 same studies by William Shakespeare, William Blake, and also Sylvia Plath poems. That based on the previous study, the researcher analyzed the kind of figurative language which found in the common type of poems, and there are several types of generally known such as narrative, sonnet, epic, and lyric. And the researcher take the sonnet a specific type of poem in finishing in my research. So we're going to the third chapter, that is research methodology. What we have already known, that this researcher used descriptive qualitative study. According to Agarwal 2018, that my focusing in this research is doing my documentation way, that is library research. So in library research, so it means like the keperpustakaan study. So the next point is this research instrument. For doing library research, I have several steps in finishing my research. That is the first step is reading the poem, analyzing the poem to conclude this poem, and so on. So the next point is analyzing the data. This research collect the data to analyze and the kind of figurative language found in the sonnet. After data are collected, all of the data that I have in my paper, the literature based on some derived from some expert, that is such as Linga, derived, Bruto, and so on. So the next step is explaining the figurative language. To answering the research question I get from my research, to finish this research as finding result, that how to analyze the research is to first is analyzing what is the kind of figurative language expression. Also, to answering the second question, that is what is the most frequently found in the sonnet by John Milton, that I already explained and write the result as a finding result in the last chapter, that I will explain it step by step systematically in the last chapter. So we're going to the next chapter, that is chapter 4. This is the most important part in my presentation, that I already write it down in my research. that I already made two tables as a classification of the table, that the table itself to show that the answering of my research question themselves. So for the first table is figurative language description. It will try to make it will try it will answer my first question, that is the kind of figurative language expression. So after reading and analyzing the data, I got 11 type of figurative language expression based on the theory I have in this research, that I already explained in the table that the number of occurrence. So we can know with how many type of figurative language expression found in how should have time, each word, each sentence. Also to find the other figurative language found or existence of alliteration, irony, and other figurative language expression. So for the last result, based on what I have in my research question, the second question is what is the most kind of figurative language expression most frequently found in the sonnet. So what I got from this research, based on analyzing the data, that I have one figurative language, that is alliteration. There are 11 lines in the poem that is alliteration. So to answering the first question, that is there are 11 type of alliteration in the fourth sonnet by John Milton. The second question is answered by what I got, like alliteration is one of the most frequently found in the sonnet. So the next point is discussion. So this thesis is arranged based on the theory of some expert, like I say to you, and it is notes from the table, the classification of figurative language, also the description of figurative language table that showed the two results that I already explained. That then in this discussion part, I already explained several things as well in different paragraphs. The first paragraph is I explained that the least frequent figurative language can be found in the sonnet is irony, and also the next part of discussion part is as a comparison. The research take the same study as so to conclude the several things. The first research is taken from the analysis figurative language from William Shakespeare and also by Spencer. The two criteria itself show that the result there are many kind of figurative language expression found in William Shakespeare work and also Spencer work. So if we compare to John Milton work, as we know that approximately that there are 9 type of figurative there are at least 9 words that is sonnet work by John Milton that is derived published by Dartmouth College, that also Shakespeare and Spencer are the most popular with the most creation of sonnet. So based on what I myself as a researcher, what I got from the result, that the research also has already learned some comparison about early modern English, old English, and also modern English. So I can conclude that in the different words based on the era, we have something like we difficult to analyze the data because of the style word each sentences by using in a different era like modern English. If we compare to John Milton and William Shakespeare, we aware that John Milton it referred to the early modern English. But if we compare it to William Shakespeare and also Spencer, we know that they are coming from the era of Old English. So it is a kind of what is the most important thing for myself, that I become a researcher in this research, that I really difficult to know and to analyze the kind of figurative language expression in this research. So for the last point, that in this research, the researcher also made that the glossary of the word of early modern English to make the student or the reader read this my analysis, they can easier understand about what why the sentences or the word itself are referred to the alliteration and are referred to maybe the some figurative languages derived from expert that I already said to you. So we're going to the last chapter, that is chapter 5. I discuss about the conclusion and suggestion. So for only brief information that I will conclude three several things in my research. The first is the researcher has found all the type of figurative language expression. There are 11 type of figurative language expression, and also answering the research question myself. I mean the second question, I already got that the alliteration is the one of the kind of figurative language expression most frequently found in the sonnet. So the second question conclusion is the conclusion which taken be the data sources that the kind of figurative language and most frequently found it which are in 11 line, that is alliteration. And the third conclusion that the factor of the kind of figurative language most frequently found is because John Milton was man of letter in his time. It is mentioned by William Hylane, 1766, 96 biography. So for the suggestion, I already suggest the reader, also everyone that would like to know about the figurative language, also about John Milton, maybe about my research, that the first is to know the kind of figurative language. The second is the research also suggests to reader to pay more attention in reading John Milton books or John Milton works. The last is the reader and other researchers who want to improve their knowledge in knowing figurative language expression in the poems, especially in collection of John Milton poems. So they are suggested to understand the meaning of the kind of figurative language, also to understand the meaning of the kind of figurative language, also to understand the comparison by creation by different author with different, like comparing among all English, early modern English and modern English. Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think this is the last part of my presentation. This is actually what I know. I'm really sorry if I have some many wrong things in doing my research or maybe in this presentation. Once again I want to say thank you, and also I'm sorry. Thank you very much for your time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.